All right. I am super excited about today. My name is Michael. If you, I guess you know that because you are here right now and you're seeing this on one of my channels. If you're on this, I would love it for you to like and subscribe right now. And if you're on Facebook, there's a link that you can follow to pull up YouTube. Man, today we are interviewing one of my best friends, and his name is Seth Phipps. Man, Seth, I want to jump in, and I just need to ask you a question before we get into the real content that I know that you want to share with us. So I've got two pictures here,
Okay.
Seth, that I just need to know what's going on here. The first one is this right here. So I was stalking
Yeah.
your Instagram, and I came across this beautiful picture of you. Let me just tell you what I see
Okay, please.
before you tell me what is happening. What I see is um you're sad. You look really sad. And then in the background there's this lady. I don't know if you can see the lady back there. There's this lady kind of peering in the picture in that window. Are you okay right here? What's going on, man?
Well, I'll tell you, Michael, thanks for digging this out of maybe 7 years ago. My wife and I are in New York City, and
Okay.
so when you ride a subway, if you've done that before in New York City, you never know what you're going to get. And
Right.
so I think the woman in the background though is a picture. It looks like a real woman, but I think it's a picture. I'm not really sure though. Who knows what it
Enough
is?
about her. Tell me, are you okay in this picture?
I'm
Are you
great,
okay?
dude. I actually I think I asked my wife to capture a picture of me so that I could look cool.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about right there. That is the truth. I mean,
that's that's real.
that's real life. That is what it is. Okay, well, I mean, that's a cool shirt, dude. You've always
Yeah,
dressed so cool.
yeah. Check the fit. I mean, I've got a Gordon Bros hat. If I can just do a
Yeah.
fit check real quick, I've got
Right.
a Zara shirt that I wish I
Okay.
still had. I don't know where
All
that
right.
thing is, but it's cool. Skinny jeans are out of date, but I have them on
Okay.
them,
That's
and
great, man.
and my Jordans. I still have those today.
That's good. I have another question or
Okay.
another picture. This one is a bit alarming, and PETA might get onto us for this. So here's what's happening here, bro.
Man, that's at second. Yeah. So I was working for you there, by
Okay.
the way.
Okay.
Um, like you were my boss, and
Right.
I am riding a fake camel. And and I mean the fit check again is
No,
solid,
no, no,
but
no, no, no. Who's this blonde girl over here that is just looking at you like, what is happening? Who is this?
well, there's two people in the picture. One is a shepherd, a fake shepherd in the background,
Yeah.
and then the other is my wife, Erica. We worked together at Second Baptist there, and just hopped on this probably $1,000 camel, or
Yeah.
maybe more, and it's probably why I'm no longer working at that church. But that's
Hey, you know
that's
what?
what I chose to do.
Sometimes we get let go, and
That's
that's okay, Seth. Well,
amen, brother.
let's I have some questions for you, man, and I'm thankful that you're here today. And man, it truly is awesome that you've taken
Yeah.
the time to jump on this. And the first thing is, what has been the hardest leadership issue that you've ever faced?
Man, that keyword ever is tough. And by the way, I just want to say thank you for having me, brother. I'm super excited to be on this and to be one of your first guests, and just super excited for you and what's happening. And I pray and believe that this is going to be incredible and an incredible resource for so many people for years and years to come.
Appreciate it, brother.
But you're welcome. Leadership wise, been through just in a short 10 years of ministry, which, you say 10 years that is short, but really it feels like 100 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 10 years of student ministry, 10 years of working at two different churches that are both incredible. So have been through a lot, learned a lot, been through some seasons of challenge. I would say, uh, as far as the most challenging I've ever faced, is one of the most recent, I would say, just in a season of transition with a senior pastor. I report to the senior pastor at our church currently. I did for the previous senior pastor. And, when you have somebody who has been in a position for 30 years leading a pretty incredible church, large church in an influential place, and they retire, and you go in a transition season of looking for a new person, new leader, God's man that he has chosen now to lead his church in this new day, which I know is some of what we're going to talk about. It's challenging. It's challenging to figure out. I was here for 2.5 years at that point, or really 2 years. And so, for me coming in, uprooting my family, moving back across the country, and then that person retires, rightfully so, for good reasons, to love on their family and pursue some new things. Been doing it for a long time, and I think is really healthy. But for me, it was like, what do I do? And what do we do? We have an identity. Who are we as a people, as a church? What's the future going to look like for this new person coming in, whoever that may be? Are they going to be old, young? Are they going to be somebody that, on staff for my wife and I that we like, that we don't like, that we work well with? So you have all these questions that go through your mind, and it's just a season of uncertainty. It's a season where you kind of have to just, figure things out and make it through and work as a team. Like, we have a bunch of staff who lead many different things. And
how many staff do you currently lead?
I currently lead 3 staff members.
Okay.
Our staff team here at our church is, 60 plus. I don't know the number of our staff here, but you've got lead staff members at every, ministry position. And so those lead team members could have gone different directions and said, you know what, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to pursue, missions, students, children's, all the different areas of the church, and forget you, because I've got to take care of my flock and my people and my job, and make sure I do, I take care of myself. And truly, we saw a staff, a lead team of people who joined together and said, we can't go separate directions. We've got to be together, unified. We might be different. Yeah. Some are old, some are young, but we've got to join together and do this thing for this time while we don't have a person leading the team in the church. And so that's what we saw. But it was challenging just because of the uncertainty and the type of leadership that you had to take on in those uncertain times.
Have you ever maybe in that of the pastor coming and the pastor leaving, did you man, what was it like for you as far as like in that transition time? Did you find yourself getting angry, getting sad, trying to impress, or just trying to lead people? What did you find out about you in those moments when you had some transition happening, if that makes sense? Just with you.
Yeah, for me personally, I found that, you have this feeling, and this is just real. You have this feeling of, I have to do it all, that things are on my shoulders. And, that was never said to me. It wasn't my job, but as a newcomer and as somebody who's young, you feel like, okay, I need to add fresh vision, fresh thought, fresh perspective. And you start to want to help the entire church, and you start wanting to help many areas. And so I had to learn, okay, look, I've got to do my job, my ministry, my calling well.
That's good.
And not all these other things that are great. And if God calls me to it, or it's assigned to me, awesome. I'm going to accomplish it and do it well, but it's not my job. And it's not my calling. It's not just my job. Like, my calling is to be the student pastor of First Baptist Church, Spartanburg. And so I had to lean in and say, okay, I'm going to lead this team, lead these people, these students, these leaders, these parents, and let the other things just be okay for right now, because it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
That's so good. And did you mention that your wife is on staff at the church?
She is, yes. My wife is currently on our staff. She just went through a transition of her title and position. But yes.
How is that with you've got people, maybe that are watching this or will eventually maybe have their spouse work with them, or they're like, I'll never have my spouse work with me ever. And that's me. I don't think that we would have done whenever I was working in the church. I don't think I would have worked out well. How do you guys make that work if it is working? Just real quick. I mean, can you answer that question?
Yeah. It has been a journey, and you were a part of a good bit of that. We actually talked about. I'll just say this quickly. We talked about writing a book on this, and talking about what does it look like to work in ministry together, both called, both given specific callings, but to join together as a husband and wife and
Yeah.
do it from different campuses, different churches, different ministries. Because we've done it all. We've gone from being 30 minutes apart in Houston to being even here in Spartanburg together in the same building, but different ministries. And so I would say we're in a really healthy place. And
That's great.
Erica and I have learned our boundaries. And, I think it's super healthy to keep a lot of things at work and especially at church when it comes to your spouse, whether your spouse works with you or not. And so we just had to find that balance of like, we're hearing it all day long. We're seeing the mess. Church is where the mess is. So we're seeing the mess all day for both of us. So we've got to come home and make sure that we don't just harp on the mess or we don't just unload on each other. And there are times and places for it because we are each other's best friend. But we've got to have other people in our lives that we can vent to or talk to that we trust when things are challenging and difficult.
And that's good. I got a few people on here. The King Thomas saying hello to us. Good morning, fella. And then I've got Laura Fisher saying, man, I missed it. What was the topic in the beginning? And Laura, man, right now we're talking about some of the hardest things that Seth has gone through as or some of the hardest leadership issues that he has faced. And really he talked about the King Thomas, H-Town is in the house. Mr. T, let's go. Keep it up, brother. Also, if you're watching this, if you could please head over to YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, so glad you're here. Go over to YouTube and like and subscribe to this channel. I'm excited about what God is doing. Here also have Zach Henderson on here, man. He's saying, what's up to the OG squad? I'm actually have a phone call with Zach later today, which I'm excited about. So Seth, with you and everything you've been doing, what do you feel has been the best next step that you have taken in the last 5 years? The best next step. Somebody's watching this right now and they're like, man, I'm in this place of like, I don't know what to do. And man, a little bit about me, if you're just now signing on for the first time. And I took a big step recently in stepping out of massive faith to start a business coaching and a life coaching business. And I'm super excited about that. And YouTube is a channel that I'm going to be using to tell my story. And to get to know people and encourage people. But Seth, what has been the best next step that you have taken? Man, and why aren't you drinking any coffee right now? I'm a little concerned, but we can talk about that offline. But as you were, best next step you've ever taken.
I'm drinking a Fit Aid right now because I have, I'm just marathon training. And so I'm trying to be healthy, Michael.
We got coffee's healthy.
I know. I drink coffee too. Are
you sponsored by Fit Aid? If so, Fit Aid, we would love, please sponsor this. Please sponsor the next step right here.
I'm not a CrossFitter, so I couldn't be sponsored by Fit Aid.
I'm not either. I'm cross fat. So go ahead. Go ahead, Seth.
I gave you that one. All right. So I would say for me, the next step, I think you're always taking next steps, right? I think you've got to, there's always a next step and you're always taking next steps. And so one of the title of this was how to lead in uncharted waters. And so the idea is when you step into something, for me coming here 2.5, almost 3 years ago now, we're coming up on my transition and things in the ministry that needed to be tweaked, worked on. We needed to look at differently. We needed to think about, pray about, adjust, bring some fresh ideas to. And then just with our church going through a season of transition, I think my biggest next step was learning how to lead in a position where you didn't expect you would be, or things were different. Or maybe you didn't even know how to lead. Like you had to learn on the fly, like learn in the moment. I think about, there's this book that talks about Lewis and Clark, and how, if you know, remember them, they were sent out by the president to go and explore the West. And so they're on the race to figure out how to get to the Pacific Ocean, and they're following the Missouri River with canoes. And their idea is, we'll just stay on the canoe and take it all the way to the Pacific. Well, what they didn't realize was there were mountains. The Rocky Mountains were there. And so they got to these mountains and they were like, well, all we have is canoes. So we're going to have to figure out how to canoe the mountains, how to pick up our canoe on our backs and get through these treacherous mountains that we did not expect and make it to the Pacific. And so their journey, if you look at it, was really treacherous. It was crazy, complicated. People died. They lost people. People joined. There were people from the outside who helped them, but they had to lead when it was challenging. And so one of the quotes that I love is, leadership is disappointing people at a rate they can absorb.
Woo!
And that's something that I'm trying to figure out and have been trying to figure out.
Leadership. Say that again, Pastor. Yeah. Hit that one more time.
And this is not me, by the way. This is in a book I read. So leadership is disappointing people. Like when you're a leader, and we know this, I think as leaders, I hope as leaders, that we're not going to please people. Like that's not what we're in it for. I mean, as humans, that's not what we're in it for. We please the Lord, like audience of one, like that's all that matters. But when you do life and relationships and you work for people and you lead people and you pastor people, you're going to disappoint them.
Yeah.
And so leadership is doing something new, changing culture, bringing people with you, pulling them sometimes with you at a rate they can absorb. Sometimes leaders say, okay, I'm just going to go make changes and destroy everything. And that's disappointing people at a rate they cannot absorb. Like you've got to be careful at doing it at a way which certain people can take those changes. And some of them, they can take them in one day, like they're good with it. Like, hey, I've been wanting this change forever. Let's go. But there's some people, they need a slow pace and they need to hear the why. They need to understand it. They need to see, one of the quotes is that people, they need to earn your trust. Like the more they trust you, the more they see it, then the more likely they are to follow your leadership in uncharted waters.
I love that. How, as a leader, I think I've got some thoughts on this as well. How do you, as a leader, earn trust? You said you've got 3 staff, but you've also got your wife and your kiddo. And how do you earn that respect and that trust? What are some things that you work on to try to make that happen?
Great question. So people aren't going to follow you off the map if they aren't following you on the map. So
that's good.
If Lewis and Clark weren't giving a great example on just the typical basic journey, like they prepared, they set out, and they had all of their supplies, all their things, their map, like they were ready, they had a plan. If they weren't leading well then those people were not going to follow their leadership when it was off the map, when it was uncharted, when it was the Rocky Mountains. And so I believe it's doing the right things on the map, like in the normal, in the day-to-day, and we talk about it a ton, but I believe one of the biggest things is leading yourself well. Okay. So if a leader is not leading themselves well,
yes,
personally for me, I'm not going to follow them. Like,
yes,
now I'll try, because if they're my boss or, authority or, whatever position they have, I'll do my best. But true leadership, doesn't come because of a position or authority. It comes because you're leading, you're the example. I use 3 words, like we follow Jesus. Jesus led by equipping, by example, and what was the other? By equipping, example, excellence. So Jesus did those 3 things really well personally.
Say that again. Jesus led by
equipping.
Yep.
So he gave away ministry. Like he said, disciples, go do it. Let me show you how to do that. He led by example.
Okay.
He was the example. I mean, no, he was the Son of God, but Jesus.
He was the type of leader that like he would say, go do this, and he would sit back and watch them, right? No. He was the type of leader that would say, follow me and watch how I'm going to do this. Now you go and do it. I think, is that kind of what you're talking about there?
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yep. It's huge.
he gave the example, and Jesus led himself well. Like the other word was excellence. So everything Jesus did, I believe, was done with excellence. Like he knew that everything speaks. So like everything that he did, the way he talked to people, like the way that he used his words, the way that he addressed the Pharisees versus addressing other people who may be broken or struggling. He was really crafty and he was excellent. He did those three things really well. And so he had every right and authority. Again, aside from being God's son, we get all that, but he was 100% human. And he could have come and he could have, I know he's God's son, but he could have blown it. Like he could have been like, missed the mark and like had no followers. But Jesus did all those things really well. And so he met with his disciples and he said, I'm leaving and I want you to go and make disciples of all nations. He gives them the Great Commission. And he has the authority, not just being God's son, but the authority to say that and them follow him because he did it well on the map. Like he was saying, I want you to go off the map and do things that you've never done before. You're going to be persecuted. You're going to start the church. Yeah. You're going to receive the Holy Spirit. Like what? These are things that were never heard of. But Jesus had the ability to speak into their lives because he had done it with them on the map. Like he had led them so well and he had done it with himself. So I think leading yourself well is a priority.
Yeah, I think that's important. And what you can tell whenever you do start leading yourself well and you start becoming more healthy, it becomes even more evident whenever you're being led by somebody who is unhealthy. Yeah. And if you are the leader that's leading people right now, I would encourage you to get healthy. What does that look like? Man, I can't answer that question for you. I know for me, I was talking to somebody and they're like, man, we had this, I'm wanting to get into business coaching. And they said, man, we had this business coach come in and he was about, like 400 pounds. And he was telling us all these things that we needed to do to get better. And it was hard for that person for those people to actually follow what he was saying. Now you may be like, man, Michael, that's rude. That's, you can't say that. No, I just said it because the truth is if you can't lead yourself well, then how are you going to lead anybody else? That'd be like me being 700 pounds and telling people you need to get up and you need to go run. I mean, that doesn't make sense. And so leader, if you're watching this, people are waiting for you to take care of yourself. And whenever you do that, they're going to mimic you. So when you're looking at the people that are following you, if they're still following you, if you're an unhealthy leader, if they are still following you, they want to be somewhat like you. And so it's time for you to get healthy, man. Maybe that's going to counseling. Maybe that's realizing you're not the king all be all. And it's time for you to let people know, man, I apologize. I need to learn. I got some things to do in myself. And so, man, and maybe also it means I know that sometimes in ministry, Seth, we get so busy doing the stuff and we can forget the reason that we actually started doing it was for the people.
That's right.
And so we, at times, I know for me, I have stayed in my office or I have stayed on the peripheral of where the people are, whenever the people were the reason I got into ministry in the first place. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're watching this and you're a business leader. You're like, man, the reason that I started this business or I got into this business was for the people. And now the people that are actually working with you and for you, they don't know you anymore, but they want to. And I just want to encourage you in taking those steps, whoever's watching this. So, man, Seth, that's so good. Man, I got another question for you. I got a lot of questions, but we don't have time for all. Actually, I have all time in the world. Let's see. What is your next step for you? What is we kind of talked about what the next step was, but what do you feel? I love what you said earlier. We're always taking the next step. I agree. Some people are taking steps backwards. Some people are taking a step forwards. And I think I'm curious, what is a next step? Like a big next, like what is something that you're like dreaming of? Like, man, this is going to happen. I know that you've got a marathon coming up and a half marathon. It's called the Goofy. Is that correct?
That's it, man. Goofy
Tell
challenge.
us about that. And I'm going to put a link in the description so that people can help give to that. So tell everybody about that.
Yeah. So this is my, from a fellow runner here, Michael, the process of running and being in races, and there's many different ways to do it. But I love like accomplishing marathons and from different cities. And so my dream is like to do 2 marathons a year for the next at least 20 years, maybe more. And so I want to go to cities all across the country. It'd be really cool to hit all 50 states. Like that's a cool concept, but that's a big deal. So recently I signed up for the 4th marathon that I've done in the past 2 years. And it was the Goofy Challenge. And what that is you run half marathon and full marathon back to back, 2 different days, but like Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday I get up, run the half marathon, super cool through the parks. And then the next day I get up and run the full marathon. And so it's a challenge. Like running 1 marathon is a big deal. And so you add that other half marathon to it. It's pretty cool. And
you're going to crush.
I'm super excited. Well, the really cool thing is it's different because I'm not just doing it for me, like not just going and accomplishing something, but I got to partner with an organization called Team No Kid Hungry. And it's if you look it up, it's in the top 5 of every category or every list of hunger organizations. So they're in the top 5 of feeding people, specifically children. And so what they do is they go and partner with many different churches and like homeless shelters, food pantries across the country, and they provide the meals and give them support. So what I'm doing is raising money and giving all that to them, and then I run the marathon with a group of people from Team No Kid Hungry. So it's like 50 or so people running this.
I love that, bro. I'm gonna put that link in this show, and maybe people can give to that and man support. When is the race?
It is January 7th and 8th of 2024. So we're coming up.
Come on.
Yeah,
is it too late to sign up for that?
They're probably sold out, probably. But next year.
Can I just show up and run it and not like pay? Not that I would do that, but I just something to think about. No, I'm not doing that because I need. That's true. That's true because you gotta get in. But man, that is an awesome thing. But you didn't answer my question. Right. What is the biggest next step that you see coming down for you guys?
Man, I see. That's a big question. For me, I have a lot of goals that I want to accomplish. I would love to write books. I would love to potentially get my doctorate degree. I would love to, preach a whole lot and maybe be a senior pastor, be a leader of a church. Like I have a lot of ideas and just dreams. I had a dream for many years of church planting, and I don't know if that's still what God has for me in the future. I'm 32. Right. And so I feel like I'm getting older and it's harder.
Shut up, bro. Stop it.
but truly, like,
oh man, go ahead.
I think when I started working with you, you were like 30, 31, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So from where, anyways, I just, I have those passions and dreams and thoughts, but I would say for where I am currently in student ministry, I think we're on the horizon of doing some different things that I don't want to say, but I just think that we're growing. I feel like there's some really cool opportunities that are coming for us to kind of do some different things. We talk about these uncharted waters. The idea is we can't do church the way that we used to do church years ago.
My goodness, you're speaking my language right now.
It's a new day, man. And so we've got to figure out new ways to meet people. And so, and I think our church is on for some big and new, incredible things that maybe people aren't ready for yet or expect yet. But I just believe and see God's hand here and ready for him to work and move. So those are kind of some lofty things, some BHAGs, if you will. You know what I mean?
Dude, I just want you to know you disappointed me. You disappointed me at a rate that I cannot absorb. And because you said a lot of things and then you said, I don't want to say it right now. So you said you want to get your doctorate, you want to preach more, you want to maybe be a lead pastor, all the things. And that's good. I love it. Yeah. So you are, a lot of people have those dreams and those things. And so my question to you would be, of all the things, what is a step that you're taking? Maybe it's the thing you're not going to unveil yet, but I can't wait to see what that is. What is a step that you're taking to make sure that you do that. For example, you're doing the marathons. So the step you're taking, you're getting up every day and you're grinding, you're working, you're running. What about these steps of these different dreams and goals? I would say they're not just dreams. I believe, Seth, I know you well enough that God put those in your heart. And I know that you are, you're going to hit them. And I can't wait to sit back and be a part of that. So what is a step right now that you're taking to hit just something?
Let me tell you, and I know this might seem cliche, but this really is the step that I'm taking that's hard for me. And I started it. I did a brief time when I was living in Houston, but I've been here for 2.5 years now. And I started, 6-7 months ago, and it's counseling. Like I believe that, and I'm still, so I guess my point is it's a next step, because every time I sign up to go to counseling, like for the next appointment, it's a step for me. So
come on, man.
I have it tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And that is another step for me, like to continue doing it and not just do it once and check a box and say, I did it because so-and-so wanted me to, or because I got the pressure to do it, or because I'm preaching it, so I need to do it, or whatever. That is a step for me, because I'm never going to accomplish anything if I don't have a clear mind, if I'm not setting my mind on things above. And I can't do that unless I'm dealing with what's in there and there's somebody helping me do that.
So good.
So that is a step for me. Like that's going to be a step tomorrow or whenever you watch this. But for me tomorrow, I'm meeting at 10 o'clock. And so that's a step for me.
That's massive, bro. And I'm proud of you for that. That's big. And what you just did by you saying that on here, you just helped somebody realize, man, I need to take that step. And if you're watching this, you don't know who I am, man. Therapy truly, and Jesus has saved my life. And every time I go every other week. It is a game changer. And so, man, Seth, that is great. That is seriously incredible, because, man, with a clear mind, we're able to really see, we're able to see a lot more clear, and people can follow that. That's just real.
Yeah.
And so that's big, man. Thanks for saying that.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Even though you didn't give me, you did this right here. You disappointed me at a rate that I cannot absorb, because you left me hanging, which means we got to have Seth back, and we're going to have him back, and we're just going to drill into him. What is it that you believe, and you don't have to answer right now because you're not going to, but what is it that you believe the church needs to start doing and needs to stop doing? I think that's a great question.
That's good.
And if you're watching this, man, I just thank you for being here. If you could like this video, subscribe, and man, go and follow Seth. He is a great leader. He's got a great student ministry. He's got an amazing wife, and also in the show notes, you're going to find ways to connect with Seth, and to man, let's blow up Seth's sponsorship for the, what is it? One More Meal. What was it called again?
It's called Team No Kid Hungry. So fighting child hunger.
Team No Kid Hungry, man. Let's go and support that. That would be really, really awesome. So, man, Seth, thank you for being here today, buddy. This has been awesome, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you, Michael.